Welcome to the Neo-Masculine Minutes podcast show, where my co-host Dan Ploger and myself, John Protek, discuss the truth about unreliable information. In this current age of rapid-fire information, people are growing weary of biased personal opinions, outrageous ideological narratives, outright lies, and intentional propaganda meant to divide us. Dan and I wonder, when will people fall for the truth? When will they reject the informational threats that are destroying families, ruining societies, and destroying cultures all around the world? Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Neo-Masculine Minutes. I'm here with my co-host and critical thinker and masculine man, Dan Ploger. We've been at this for a while now, and we're just here to have authentic conversation. You know, you hear the word authentic, people have bastardized that word, but we actually mean it. And today, you know, oh my gosh, you wake up this morning and you read the newspaper and you find out that another iconic American brand, this time, Dan, Harley Davidson, has gone woke. They've embraced DEI. Now the CEO from Germany, by the way, has said that he's comparing Harley Davidson to the Taliban, and now they're absorbing everyone. Right now, on face, you know, these 1%ers aren't going to go for that. You know, the motorcycle clubs, and you know, those are the warlocks and the Harley Davidson, or the Hell's Angels and the pagans and the outlaws. Can you really see them going for that? Those guys would knock Taliban heads. So let's get to what's really going on. And what we've been witnessing the last couple of years, actually since the COVID lockdowns, right, from this virus that originated in China, it's more than just DEI or the buzzword woke. It's really an attack on iconic American branding. You know, we've seen the Supreme Court under attack, the DOJ, all of our institutions of law enforcement, our institutions of higher learning, all things that are iconic American things, brands are, and it's well coordinated, it's well funded. Let's be real here. They're just trying to take Harley Davidson and destroy them by this flagrant attack. What do you think about that, Dan?
Well, if Harley Davidson loses their over 60 consumer base, they're about done. there's no salvation for them. And maybe this is a suicide move by the board of directors, but I doubt it. I think it's just a naive move. But the idea is to destroy American culture. So what's more American culture than the Harley Davidson? You know, he began with the Fonz. You know, it didn't begin there, but I mean that's what we think of. That you know, this was America, the big hog motorcycle, the bigger than necessary, the more powerful than necessary, the American. It was iconic. That's what American culture stood for. Call it excess? Yeah, I guess okay. Call it maybe mixed with a little bit of flamboyance and tongue-in-cheek. And it's an American statement. And what better way to destroy an American statement than to detach from Harley Davidson or any company? It's linked to American culture. And, you know, there's a long historical track record of Harley and people of my generation, that's for sure. And maybe Harley's willing to just throw that customer base away, and you know, maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know what their board has decided, but I didn't give Harley much of a chance for financial success the way they're headed, and I certainly don't now. They'll have to come out with completely new products to appeal to a new electric bike generation. I don't know. Good luck on that.
Well, even, you know, motorcycle clubs in general, to be riding these big hogs, which brought Harley Davidson to the forefront. These motorcycle clubs were came out of World War II. Guys came back from theaters of war in the
Yeah,
Pacific and in
right.
Europe, and then they found a way to bond with each other, much like the veterans of foreign wars and things like that. And in World War II, they bonded and started these motorcycle clubs, which really, and they supported Harley Davidson. I would say that the motorcycle clubs probably did more to bring attention to Harley Davidson and to grow that company than any other one customer class or customer sector. And it's almost just a they're like thumbing their nose at the American culture. It's Bud Light. Look at what they did to Bud Light a couple of years ago with
Sure.
that. Yeah,
What's more American, John, than Budweiser? I mean, that was the American. I don't know, King of Beers. That's probably Miller, but nonetheless, Budweiser has been ever since I was a child. Budweiser was the most prominent name in beers. Just that's the way it was.
and the list goes on, and I can remember during that time I'd walk into the grocery store or whatnot, and there'd be stacks of Bud Light. Nobody was buying it. And if anybody understands how business works, obviously this current administration doesn't. That'll be another episode. But if they understood how business works, you have to have customers and you have to make money and you have to turn profit. And if you're thumbing your nose, like you mentioned a second ago, Dan, about 60-year-olds and up who really love Harley Davidson, if you start thumbing your nose at your bread and butter, you're not going to be around too much longer. And I don't think there's going to be a lot of people buying solar Harley Davidsons. I mean, maybe they will, but not right now. And it's just another example to me. It doesn't even, it just makes you more aware that what's going on globally is really happening. And America is under assault all over the place because America is not probably, is the last vestige of freedom of speech, freedom to assemble, and all the freedoms that we enjoy from our Bill of Rights. We're the last hope for humanity ideologically, but we're also the last resistance to tyranny. And so if you notch away at another part of our culture, Harley Davidson, then it's just another notch in those people accomplishing their mission. And I really we wish that more people would start to speak up and reject this full, all-out global assault on the American culture. And the people that are following these kinds of narratives, you need to dig deep, give it some due diligence, study global history about socialism and communism, and you'll find out who really benefits. And it's not the people on the street. It's not the middle class. It's the elites. And yeah,
It's
that's
the
who
party
benefits.
members, and folks, it's the party members. That's what it's all about. And that's what the Democrats are about, is they all want to be members of the party when it comes into power. Uh, that's, and the reason you don't hear so much from the Republicans is because we just don't think like that. We're more of a live and let live type of culture than the Republican side, and that just it doesn't raise a lot of flags to a lot of people, but stir those masses, and maybe you'll see them, as you said, awaken a sleeping giant.
Yeah, there is always hope. Let's not lose complete hope because I personally believe that there's more of us that have a commonsensical value set than there are them. It's just that they pull the strings, like John D. Rockefeller said years ago. I can make money in any government system, communist, socialist, capitalist, right? He says all we need to do as a corporation is basically buy the politicians, fund them, and then have complete control over the means of mass communication. Now, Rockefeller was saying this a long time ago, decades ago, And, in a sense, he was right. These corporate leaders don't really care about the individual. They care more about the collective and getting people to be in this group think mode that buys into their nonsense. And my concern is once these people gain control and have power, is that it'll be too late. And that's the main concern. And so a lot of these people that are following these ideologies, you need to give it due diligence and make sure that if you're going to stand up for something that you probably don't really know about, that you are prepared for what's going to happen when the balloon really goes. And that's not gloom and doom. That's just the way world history is. I've been blessed to have been growing up in America and have ancestors that came here for something better than they had where they were, and that actually believe in a Bill of Rights and a Constitution that allows all people to exercise their God-given rights and talents without the fear of retribution or interference or censorship. It's all basic stuff, but people have been duped.
Yeah, well, that's so true, John. I don't know what else to say. Uh, Hold on to your your remnants of American culture, and support the individual over the collective, and ignore signals coming from the Marxists and the communists that are so intent on taking over our means of communication.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I just want to thank everybody for listening to this other episode. We're trying to keep them short. We're just giving you things to think about. And that's really what this is. We want you men especially, to exercise your masculinity and be the sentinel of information. Embrace truth. Protect your families from ideologies and unreliable information that has an agenda to take away your freedoms and to have complete control over you. Any closing thoughts, Dan?
No, that's it, John. Thanks for the opportunity.
Good seeing you again, brother. And next time, tune in when we talk about what's it this time? Price gouging. Talk to you soon, Dan.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Neo Masculine Minutes podcast show. For the men, it's simple. Think for yourself. Dig deep. Reach down. We appreciate your earnestness in wanting to embrace your masculinity again. You are indeed the sentinels of information. The people you care about are waiting for your leadership, hoping you step up to fulfill your masculine role as protectors of the human race, to save it from any further destruction caused by unreliable information.